be clear in their decisive making when it comes to decisions, and they did that in game number 1. Can they do it in game number 2? Again, earn that spot for the number 2 that they started to have so well for them based on Phase 2, Part 1. Just finish this out strong, and that way we can all be confident in them as they prepare for BlizzCon in a couple of months, as they are 2 games away from being able to secure that second slot. So as we go to Volskaya Foundry, what are we looking for these teams? Are we expecting hammer compositions from them again?
I just don't know what to expect from Method. I feel like they're shifting around so many of the heroes and who plays these heroes. I mean, we had 80 RD on Thrall for a while, then they shifted it over to Nick, and he takes over Phoenix. So I don't know what I expect from them in terms of who plays which role and who plays which hero. That's what concerns me the most, that I don't see that linear play there. I could see something along the lines of Junkrat, for example.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. I feel that was something where they looked stronger with. It's a hero that also works well with the map. So Junkrat for Method might be a good idea here. From Liquid's perspective, things are doing fine. Their Garrosh is looking strong for Sport BD. That might be something they look for here too. Maybe that Muradin again for Bad Benny instead of having Diablo just going into a full comfort pick could be an approach.
Wouldn't mind seeing some Thrall in the rotation as well here. Right off Volskaya Foundry.
I think Thrall is something that Liquid is going to try and pick up here if they can go into that triple melee again, because that's usually what they're trying to do here. Their bans are very unlikely to change. Medivh should be coming in as the second ban. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Only way I can see that changing is if Team Liquid is getting first pick at all in this rotation, and maybe they turn and take it away. They've played their own Medivh in the past, but I agree with you. Their Medivh should be expected. For Method, I'm wondering if you're going to think about this Garrosh ban. Do they take that away here? They're going to go for the Tyrande instead.
Yeah, the double support setup for Liquid with Tyrande, Deckard, Kayn was really solid in the first game. Now Liquid, no snap ban on the Medivh. Maybe not even afraid of him here.
Think they're thinking about the Maiev maybe?
I mean, maybe, but I would still assume that Medivh is going to be banned out, so yeah. Not risking anything. I mean, you can make the argument, okay, let's see if they wanted it at all, and then if we can't beat that, yeah, but yeah, why risk anything? At this point, things are going well. I don't think you'd have to take a risk here. You just stick with what works.
What's the first pick for you? Method. Typically, it feels like when they start losing, they just immediately go straight to the URL on the first pick.
I can see URL, but it's a Maiev again. And I don't mind Maiev either. I mean, Maiev is fantastic in a lot of these choke points where you can just go in and force a fight. So Maiev can be absolutely fantastic. You need some follow-up for it too, but I don't mind that at all. And as it turns out, you can still get access to your URL. There's Blaze. Again, Blaze is great on the map. You are so stationary, you need to buy time on that spot. A bunker goes a long way when you're trying to accomplish that. Deckard, Kayn, and Johanna even, so you have wave clear. Have that peel for that backline too. Could be Chromie maybe even on the side of Team Liquid. I mean, at least something to throw in there. But there's the Blaze, there's the Muradin, so the comfort pick for Bad Benny. Blaze on that side, you can still ban URL out if you don't want to deal with her.
Easy setups for multiple jet propulsions with Muradin going in first, Maiev to get the tether.
Like, I'm totally fine with what Method has here. It's just like the execution that feels so off in terms of comparing it to their performance like 1 or 2 months ago.
Need to fix that disconnect, that's for sure. All right, Team Liquid, what do you guys, it's going to be your ban here? Probably thinking about some kind of range damage. It's going to be the Phoenix. With lots of slows being on the opposing team, a lot of lockdown. You should be able to get easy salvos off, and Team Liquid wants to avoid that.
Ban URL, ban Thrall. Both would be absolutely fine here. Again, when you're going up against Team Liquid on this map in particular, they played so much Thrall, they like that triple melee. So Thrall would be a good ban. I think you can ban out URL if you just don't want to deal with the extra armor on top of all of that. They're actually going into Tracer. Makes me interested to see what they are going to play for their backline.
It's got to be a squishy target, right?
I mean, Junkrat could be one of them. We've been highlighting him already a bit earlier, so Tracer can definitely make his life a living hell if you have a good Tracer in your setup, and we know that Liquid does have that.
You mentioned Chromie for Team Liquid, but what if Chromie might be the option for Method here?
Could be for ADRD for sure. There's the URL.
And Raynor. Plain and simple here for Team Liquid. Feeling pretty confident in their game plan. All right, Method, what are you going to show us? What did you want on that backline that you felt like you needed a Tracer ban for?
I'm pretty much set on that Junkrat.
He has become the go-to for a lot of teams lately.
I mean, you mentioned Chromie, and that can also be the pick here. Mephisto, Stukov. All right, believing in the Mephisto again.
The Stukov is a surprise here, but one that makes sense and one that we used to have, gosh, on our first Western Clash here.
With Maiev, with Muradin, the stuns that they have, makes sense. Genji on the last pick now taken. Okay.
Same idea. Find lockdown.
Same idea, but not quite. I mean, you
It's
have...
not full all in, but the idea of finding an isolation.
Yeah, but you're not hinging on your heroics as much as they did in last game.
Sure.
That's why I like this a little bit more, because if you miss, you have another shot a couple of seconds later. You're not working around 1 minute, 90-second cooldowns. So that's a huge part of it, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, you are still looking for an engage through Maiev or Blaze, Muradin. Those three are going to look for the engages and the follow-up with the silence immediately, and of course the damage output. But yeah, for me, this is do or die.
Yeah.
I need to see Method really coming out there. If Liquid wins this, then in my mind, there's very little that could happen to take that #2 spot and the direct qualification for BlizzCon away from them.
Even if Method wins game 2 here and we go on to 3-1 for Team Liquid, at least I would have some faith going into the playoffs that they would put up some competitive matches. Because right now, that's what I've been missing. I feel like they haven't fully performed as fully as I would like. So I agree with you. I would love to see a win here. I think one of the big things for Team Liquid is that they got Genji for their 5th pick, which will help dissect this composition. If you have a Genji jumping on your back line and tries to pull you away from being synergized, that's where you can have some issues.
It's just that fall of grace from Method that is just so shocking to me. Every team that ADRD was on for the longest time was always excelling. Method making, or expert back then, making it to BlizzCon, performing really well there. Then he plays on Zealots. They make it to the Western Clash, the first one. They end up in the grand final. He moves back to his team now, Method. They do exceptionally well, but now in the past few weeks, that trend just hasn't continued. And ADRD here finds himself on Mephisto in game #2. Nick on Maiev. Ethero, calm down, Josh. On Blaze, Curson on Stukov, and I think Benny were missing on Muradin. These things are flying in here today. Wow.
Nurok will be playing on Decker Kane. He'll have Potions flying. Sport Billy playing Johanna. Haswab's on Rainer. Eternal on Urel. And Arcaner to play some Genji. He'll be the one to try and stop Method from finding these combos they're looking for.
And ADRD is still angry. Anger taken on Mephisto as a level 1 talent.
Really seems to be enjoying that talent.
I love Mephisto's talent names. They're amazing.
I think generally the developers enjoy writing talents. There's a lot of fun ones, especially on Murky.
I mean, if you ever had a doubt that Mephisto is actually German, you just have to read the talent names and you're convinced immediately.
Simple emotions. Anger and happiness, that's all you need. All right, let's see here.
When did Mephisto get a talent that in any way reflects happy?
Oh, I was talking about Germans. They only have 2 emotions. You don't have a sad. You just have happy or anger.
We have happy?
You have happy. I've seen you happy. You laugh occasionally.
Okay.
You might not be okay with it, but it's the truth.
All right, I believe you.
So wave clear for the teams. We'll be heading into turrets pretty soon. Typically on Volskaya Foundry, you don't have any immediate pickups. It's one of these battlegrounds that you play macro based on. If you have anything happen, it's going to be around the support camp or possibly an invade. That invade is not happening so far between either of our teams. So the support camp will be the main focus for both our takes. You already see Muradin and Johanna keeping an eye on that. And so that'll be the next rotation.
I think when it comes to a fight over that camp, Method chance is actually pretty good. With all the AoE that they have, the Lurking Arm too, I feel they have a really good setup to make that fight, or at least play that if they want it. Already, a little bit of pressure coming out here, trying to put Arcana and Eternal on the Genji and Urel under pressure. Working out so far. But already the game at the top being anchored. I mean, with vision on the map of all the heroes, you know that nobody's going for that biotic emitter camp. But yeah, let's see how this is going to be played here. The early level 4 for Method. I mean, this is basically just, at the beginning of the game, this is very much so the standard. You're looking towards the 2 turret camps, and then the only question that remains is, will one team make a play for the biotic emitter camp, yes or no?
Yeah.
And is the other team just giving it up because they feel they can't match the fight? Or do they contest it and risk falling behind or getting ahead depending on the outcome of that first fight? And so far, both of the teams are pretty dodgy around the emitter camp. No one really committing to it.
With Urel being in the bottom lane though and Blaze rotating to the middle, Method finally starts popping it in. You mentioned that Method has some good control over here for this support camp, but I actually really like Team Liquid's too, mostly because of Decker Kane, if you can land it.
I mean, I find Methods are way better because of that silence, because of everything that they have with the zone control through a lurking arm. And Liquid, at least this part, agrees and says like, all right, whatever, just take it. We don't want to risk that. Because if you go in and a good silence hits you and you have to move through all of that, you're just basically just standing there like a sitting duck. And that's not something that you want to happen. So Method walks into the first objective with a slight advantage through the item lead that they have. Question, of course, still remains, can they translate that into an objective?
Both teams come over to start the point. Gonna have Team Liquid have all 5 here first, but Ethereal is right behind Eternal.
Good damage against Reina here, and the silence comes out again. Nice work from ADRD. Mephisto getting value in this case.
Getting in there, gets the shields popping here too. ADRD working those auto attacks in too to keep those cooldowns coming in, and Team Liquid has to back up. And the first control of the control point will head over to Method as Bad Benny sits down and holds on.
Immediate pre-tap too. Immediately pre-tapping here, starting to move in again. Alright, Skullmaster comes through. Level 7 is important now. And a nice camp also set up at the top lane, and Maiev is already reacting to it, but that's the rotation where Genji starts to move straight into the middle. So now Method is very likely to have to give this one up. They're trying to get some damage out, but here comes Genji. 5 versus 4. Maiev still at the top. Biotic emitter is being used. Kirsten keeps himself alive here, and here comes Maiev.
Maiev not being there really shows the confidence Team Liquid could have. He can step up and try to force the own issue, but now with Maiev here, Team Liquid has to start backing up and has to spread up. ADRD putting in the damage here, getting a lot of shields as well. Another Lightning Nova coming in here and pushes Team Liquid away.
Great tether into the silence that we had there once again, and that is the first protector. Even without Maiev, they were able to sustain themselves through the fight. Liquid couldn't find the kill, and now we're having the first protector taken by Method. Okay, they're fighting back here. Not getting the kills, but definitely now showing a little bit more resilience in these fights. Moving straight up to the top, trying, of course, to eliminate the fountain. We're seeing the same build on the side of AD already, by the way. Ghastly armor taken, the static barrier on level 4. So level 4 and level 7, mainly designed to get more sustainability for Mephisto. And so far, he's been actually doing really well. I mean, the damage output of ADRD in the last fight was absolutely solid.
Yeah, 2 or 3 fights there. We got the full ring to hit. It's going to be 13,000 damage.
Easily the #1 in the game at this point.
Yeah, Genji's behind with 11,000 right now.
And the next one is down to 8K, so yeah, far ahead.
Solid defense though from Team Liquid. Raynor helping out there. That well will get picked off, but no forts. We've been seeing more teams committing fully to the idea of just clearing out a fort. Mostly Team Dignitas has been doing that, but Method here just grabs a turret in the middle, grabs the full 2 turrets on the top, gets the well and the wall, and that's going to put them in a spot where they have a pretty decent lead, a little over half experience as they hit 9.
And they're already playing a bit through vision. Yeah, Muradin here at the side. All right, that should be one Stormbolt and a jump. Yeah, tries to get away from this one. They're just anchoring. They're trying to make sure that nobody is going for the biotic emitter and that if anyone goes, it's them. And they still hold on to 1 turret. So they have massive advantages here. The zone control for them is great. And then they have an extra turret on top of that too. And they are trying to make exactly that play. There's the silence. Turret is on the ground already. They're going for the emitter, but Kirsten gets attacked. He's the weak link. And immediately Eternal goes in for the kill, and he actually gets it. Even with the turret, Method has to retreat. They lose Bad Benny too. It's 2 heroes down. The biotic emitter lost, and also sacrificing the turret itself.
And meanwhile, Hasselhoff just dances in the back line, working those auto attacks, dodging out on Blades too. 2 pickups, and that experience lead Method had completely taken away. In fact, Team Liquid grabs an experience lead as they soak the middle and the top lane, and they'll connect with level 10.
These are tough. Method is taking fights that favor them, and then they lose them. The jump onto Kirsten, like, this is the problem that you have with Stukov, that he's oftentimes so much isolated and just very static whenever he drops the lurking arm. And we had the immediate collapse on the Stukov, and there was just not enough from Method to keep him alive there. We saw Urel jumping on Stukov and taking him down, and in the meantime, the fight over the biotic emitter starts. And even with a turret in their possession, Method just cannot get a kill and can't do anything there. So now we're having Team Liquid slightly ahead by 1 item. It's not too much. But this is how we're going to head into that second objective. Now again, there is an advantage for Liquid when it comes to the position, just simply because of that fountain. So that can't be discounted here. But we'll see how much that comes into play. They're also having 2 heroes holding back their heroic abilities, but I just can't see a Haymaker.
Can't see a Haymaker. I think it's going to be an Avatar. There's no way. The massive shove should come in for Genji, and actually there it is. Whenever he goes to the back line, if you can connect that against a Genji, you can save your team a few seconds, which are precious in a team fight. And here we go. The next protector about to be spawning up soon. Both teams are setting up for that. Going to be having the camps grabbed, pushing the top lane. Just trying to help out with the wave clear. Mostly when you grab those camps, you're just trying to make sure that you can get the lane pushed forward so you can get a little bit of vision so you can step up and grab that control point. And at the same time, you have both your bottom laners getting that experience as Blaze will be the first one to rotate over.
There's no way he haymakers. This is one of the things that confuses me all the time. It's like we all know it's going to be Avatar, so why would you go into, why would you hold that for that long?
Just feels good to hit it the last second. Show off your mechanics.
Yeah, and then you misclick.
You slam control too.
Yeah, sure.
All right, here we go. No heroic picked up for Muradin yet. Scorpio's here. Durell has not shown up to the fight, so Team Liquid
Muradin jumps into the back there, trying to actually get onto Hazobs. Okay, Stormbolt is in again. 13 stacks, by the way, for him.
Potions are set up, though. Scorpio should be fine. Here comes Durell finally. And Team Liquid, slightly ahead in experience, trying to get towards that 13 to buy time.
Yeah, quick Iron Skin being used on the side of Billy on that front line, but he gives that up, and again we're going to see Method take that early lead. But it's about 13. That's the main situation for Liquid right now. They want to have the 13 talent advantage. Urel is making the rotation. No one is moving into the middle for Method. They're going to lose nearly an entire wave here. Finally that rotation happens, so both teams should head into level 13 roughly around the same time, with Liquid having a tiny advantage. Still no Avatar taken. On 13, he finally has to make that choice so that he can pick up the healing static. But yeah, right now, still toying with our emotions here.
Team Liquid finally moves up to the control point with that 13. Method only needs one more wave, and they should be able to grab 13 themselves, but that does get the point starting to go into favor of Team Liquid as they start to get their own percentage built up. A total of 59% was collected by Method. And they're about to hit their 13 here. Both teams keeping an eye on that support camp. And finally 13 hits. Will Method engage? Keeping an eye on Bad Benny here.
Benny? Still no Avatar.
There's no way Haymakers. Who's he going to hit? Rainer?
Like, I don't know. It has to be, if anyone. So they're starting to go in. Stay a while and listen being used. The Blessed Shield comes out. Benny still no choice for him. Curson is also on the drop. And they go Haymaker. They actually go for Haymaker. And they go for Eternal here. Not quite sure if they can take him down. It's close, but the Ardent Defender was still up. Cage comes out, and they go again in with the silence. And the root, this is Curson, full on fire. Gets the root in through the 13, and Urel falls as a result.
Bad Benny still hasn't gotten his 13, though. He's going to have to back up. He's still low on health, but he is fine. Method has all 5, and as mentioned, Urel gets picked off. So Method can turn around after getting healed up and grab the control point. Sport Billy trying to delay as long as possible. They have that 90%, and every second counts as they wait for Urel, but it doesn't matter if Johanna gets picked.
Sure, Hannah got just dumpstered on. I mean, that first Stormbolt hits and then she gets silent to the ground. I actually think that Benny just forgot that he didn't take the 13 yet. He probably a hotkey picked Haymaker during the fight and doesn't even realize that he doesn't have his healing static yet.
They got the pick on Urel.
Yeah, they got the pick on Urel, and a lot of that came down to Kirsten in particular. That 13, once you are having actually the virulent reaction taken, it's such a great tool if you land that properly. But Benny actually going into the Haymaker here in Europe. I can't remember when it was the last time that in a serious match when we had actually something on the line where the teams really wanted to play the best, we had a Haymaker picked in Europe.
I mean, the surprise got them a control point. They were able to knock away Urel. Urel thought after the Haymaker was used, she was fine, dropped the Ardent Defender and healed up. Warren's Cage pulled her back in, and as you mentioned, Kirsten was able to follow up onto the root, and they got the kill. So Method, now with an experienced lead, again, half a level, is looking to open the map up with the Protector.
I mean, they have a good front line. It's also Bunker is still there, so Muradin has a few tools that he can use in those cases. The one thing that I also find a bit interesting is that they Haymaker Urel, because I agree with you. I think if you're going for anyone here, you want to get Deckard or you want to get Reyna. Ideally Reyna. That's the one target that is ideal if you can get him. But that opens up the... I mean, on 13, you go for the range increase, right? You want to have the jump. You want to be able to jump in, Haymaker, Reyna out. Already great work here by Method with the Protector. I mean, just look at all the experience they're getting. They're getting the fort at the bot lane that preps them perfectly well for the third objective. And now they have a rotation possible into the middle to drop also the final fort on the outer line of defense for Liquid. I mean, that thing is already so low, they can just poke it into the ground.
Basically, they've committed themselves to 3-4 off of one Protector. Granted, that one still sitting in a quarter, but they don't really need that experience. They've already hit 16, and they still have to leave their own opponent. They can get that later on if they want to build towards level 20. So completely set up here. So Team Liquid, meanwhile, is trying to soak safely level 16 for themselves. 2-2 in kills. A very close game here in game number 2. Much different from what we saw in game 1.
Yeah, very, very different game for sure. Also, 16 comes in now for Mephisto, so we're having him with a static field. Extra damage, especially, of course, against the tanks now. I'm not gonna lie, Benny is annoying me this game.
Pick with these talents that come in?
Yeah, pick your talents, dude. Like, the avatar that you hold that back because you want to go Haymaker, okay, I get that. That's fine. But now we are having him with a 16 talent. I mean, you have to go on the range increase, right?
Yeah, you need the door toss.
Again, Stone Form is nice if you really feel you don't have the survivability, but it's all about creating a kill opportunity, then you want to go into the range increase. The Stone Form procs, of course, ideally after an avatar because it increases the heal that you get, but at the same time, it's also fine if you don't have avatar, just simply because it takes a little bit of pressure from your support and allows you to send yourself through outside of healing statics and the thunderclaps. But if you really want to just create a kill opportunity, then it's the range increase.
I mean, the larger jump range, yeah, it could definitely even help out if you want to go for a deep flank and then just jump out and dump your team, right? Like,
yeah.
You don't have to use it as a full way to get that Haymaker in. All right, we'll see if he picks up. 17.5 here. He's probably going to be waiting for the next team fight. Big combo on top of Eternal. He actually pops the Arctic Defender early, seeing that Curse went in for the root. Yeah,
that's a problem. Eternal already on cooldown on the heroic ability. That's a real issue now.
Stone Form, by the way.
And Method immediately says, like, okay, we're going in, boys. Yeah, and that's going to be tricky. Where's that silence? Jumps out already. Stay a while and listen. Bunker on the ground. They're still fighting for it. Point is there. Eternal is low, but they're throwing everything at it. Already the Biotic Emitter on the ground. The Hyperion is still making the way over. And they dropped everything. Look at Liquid. Yeah. They dropped everything they had on this fight. Even though that point was taken by Team Liquid, I would actually consider this a win from Method's perspective. You baited out 2 turrets and the Biotic Emitter from your opponent.
3 items down, and you have your own support item. You have your own turret going in the next control point. You will have a lead in that regard, and you have an experience lead.
And you have taken your opponent's retreat point away through taking on the fort and the fountain. So Method is looking strong for this third one.
Now let's wait for the heroics to come up. Still waiting on Warden's Cage for Maiev, 50 seconds. And then, of course, the Consumed Souls for Mephisto is about 70 seconds. But Team Liquid can start to get the point.
What's the timing on the left, though, on that point? That's what my question right
50
now.
50 seconds?
50 seconds. So we have another item for Method, and Liquid can't get theirs anytime soon. So that's 2 turrets and a Biotic Emitter now for Method, if I'm not mistaken.
Sneaky DPS, sneaky healing.
They're looking great here.
And the Haymaker's up too.
And also there's still cooldowns active. A lot on the side, very important ones. The Ardent Defender is still on 20 seconds. Let's see how they're gonna play this. AD is already going in, and they are just looking for an engage here, but Liquid is actually claiming position first. The item game still strong for Method. And they have the tap option. They can pre-tap and go in, and Bad Binny already did exactly that. He started a pre-tap at the fountain, and now he's fully engaging into this.
Gonna be a bit condemned. Also opposite target. He's able to back up. Nurok with the stay on while listen. Connects with Maiev. She jumps in the bunker at the last second. She's low on health, but she falls. The support item also taken out as Ethereal will be the next one. Hyperion is shredding from the skies.
And they're not getting anything here. Biotic Emitter even taken by Liquid. Double kill against Method. Liquid going in, trying to find kill number 3. They go for ADRD and they find it. Method, it's such a sad story. Every time you feel they're coming back into the shape that we used to see them in, they go into a fight and they have big problems. Liquid playing this fight, of course, great, but Nick got bullied around there. He was trying to drop that Biotic Emitter the entire time, barely gets into the bunker, gets blown up shortly after. He was already so low in HP that it didn't even matter. Can't even drop the healing beacon. And Liquid picks it up, picks the protector. Think about the advantage that Method had going into that fight.
The thing is, they were missing 2 major heroics, Warden's Cage and the Consumed Souls. If you wait 25 seconds, 30 seconds, what is that? Maybe an extra 30% on top of the control point. At that point, you can go over to the next turret on the right side. Suddenly you have 4 total items available for you. You can re-tap and do the same engagement just at a later time, but be even more equipped for the fight and have your proper heroics to force it. Method, feeling like they had enough of a lead with the 3 items they had, but they simply could not stop Team Liquid, who had a few heroics up and were able to answer back.
Liquid is even thinking about core here, obviously. They have level 20 by now. and they are already starting to make that move. If they get kills here, and that's what they're looking for right now, that would be fantastic. Here comes the cage, though. The silence and the kill against Urel. Method with a defense attempt here. They dropped the first one. Urel is down. That was a big one, but they lose maiev.
Bad Bunny doing what he can, though, to keep Hasselhoffs away from the core itself here. Team Liquid may have to consider start backing up. This Protector is down to a quarter HP. It's a 1-for-1 trade between both teams, and Method's going to go ahead and start backing away.
Yeah, and now we're going to see Method start and chase a little bit. Ah, Blaze down. Oh, there comes the silence. They're surviving for now. They take a bit of damage. They don't have the 20 yet, but they had a chance to maybe even chase someone here, and they did not make that work. But Liquid all of a sudden sees an opportunity to maybe get that core after all.
I mean, you still have to stay a while. Listen, just keep Raynor alive. Let him slowly shut this down. You have 20 seconds before maiev can force the issue. Keep an eye on Bad Bunny, who has that haymaker, and you're fine. Oh, and speaking of Bad Bunny, he goes for the jump, gets interrupted. There's a stay a while and listen. Gonna have the Lightning Nova connecting with Johanna, but it's not enough. Method losing too many members. Team Liquid getting the kills. They're going for the core. It's dropping down to 20, down to 10. They're hungry for BlizzCon as they go up 2-0 over Method.
Yeah, Method. I'm in this torn space where I'm very happy